Welcome back, prospective applicant. It's good to see you here again. Better still to know that you've kept your word in regards to the confidential nature of these sessions. Today will be your final orientation seminar. At its conclusion, we will make you an offer that you may either accept, or perhaps you need some time to think about it before accepting. After all, we're not going to share this information with someone who won't be working for World Eater. Civilians who stumble upon the things you're about to hear disappear without a trace. We wouldn't want something like that to happen to someone with as much potential as you. That would just be a waste of our time and resources. Now, listen carefully and pay close attention to the following presentation. It will be considerably longer than your previous sessions. You may also notice a small segment of footage that appears damaged or corrupted. Please ignore this. Merely a technical error with the reel. Roll the footage. Subject 018, A-Show Mark III. In the spring of 1949, GATE was acquired by Foresight Labs. Our closest partners suddenly became our greatest enemies, and we were faced with the immovable reality that we no longer had control of what came through GATE's portals. Foresight had it out for us, sending kaijus not to attack towns and cities, but to wipe us off the map. World Eater had something that Foresight didn't, the trust of the American public. By 1950, we had vanquished the Shimmer and produced a new line of A-Show units, piloted by humans, powered by kaiju blood, and armed with the same weapons that failed our older mechs. We had a weapon that could protect and enforce, and World Eater's mission statement shifted. Our new objective was to obliterate Foresight, reclaim the portal technology, and profit off the blind trust we'd instilled in the American public. Subject 019, Leukocyte. When GATE was acquired by Foresight, they had unlimited access to the kaijus and a unique insight into their world via the Ambassador. They designed piloted mechs powered by kaiju blood and equipped with the tools necessary to provide support to their kaijus mid-combat. This made our job much harder, as previously lethal blows to our targets could now be healed in the heat of battle. The country was split, with half of the US population backing World Eater and the other half buying into Foresight's propaganda of kaiju sympathy. No one suspected either company's involvement with GATE, and it would stay that way. If we at World Eater exposed Foresight, they would turn around and pin the initial kaiju attacks on us. The portals would close, and our only source of business would be gone forever. Our executives began to suspect that this was Foresight's plan all along. Subject 020, the First Lady. We like to think there's nothing in this world or any other that we don't understand, because it's usually true. But there are a few anomalies that even our most brilliant scientists have yet to disambiguate. One such example of this uncertainty is the kaiju known as the First Lady. This entity is entirely unlike any other kaiju World Eater has ever faced or encountered, excepting perhaps the Ambassador. The two share some striking similarities, and both are incredibly sentient. Though our pilots have yet to isolate the First Lady long enough to engage in combat, our scouts have reported such behavior as use of tools, language skills, and even telekinetic powers. The public could never know this, but our head engineers and top pilots all agree that we don't currently possess any mech that would be able to face up against this particular target and win. This kaiju has often been seen at the site of pack kaiju battles after the monsters have been slain. What it is, where it came from, and what it wants remain to this day a mystery. Subject 021, Terraformer Mark II. The 50s heralded in a new age of technology for World Eater. Kaiju blood was the optimal source of fuel for our packs, but farming it was inefficient and consistent sources were scarce. Nuclear power was a revolutionary breakthrough for our engineers, and our terraformers got their first upgrade since 1938. While these mechs still underperformed in direct combat with the kaijus when compared to the A-show units, they were a shining example of our technological prowess as a company. The United States military purchased the terraformers by the hundreds, bolstering their front line in a way no other country could. The world was still growing around us, but thanks to the kaiju crisis and the impact it had on the United States, we had an enormous leg up in the global arms race. Bleeding Heart pacifists gave these mechs the clever nickname Terra Farmers. It's got a nice ring to it, wouldn't you say? Subject 022, The Tower. Magic is just science we don't understand yet. At least, that's what our scientists told us when we asked them to explain what codename The Tower was, and how it avoided any sort of detection before appearing directly above our largest manufacturing plant. Of course, we accredited its presence to Foresight Labs. Who else would have access to such an enigmatic and unexplainable piece of technology? Nothing about how the thing appears to operate makes sense, and our R&D department says they need to study a longer encounter before any conclusion about what the hell the damn thing even is. In short, it's a problem for another day. It appeared once, it did nothing, and then it vanished into thin air. It's above your pay grade. Let's move on. Subject 023, Sweet Tooth. Codename Technicolor might not have been the only kaiju to have been released by Gate without World Eaters knowing. Another entity with a chemical makeup very similar to that of Technicolor was neutralized by our pack pilots without the public ever even hearing about it. This exceptionally monstrous being, codenamed Sweet Tooth, almost seemed to be an anomaly in and of itself. With behavioral patterns unlike any other kaiju and the appearance of a children's cake topper, our scientists are baffled by this thing even today. Like Technicolor, Sweet Tooth regenerates physical matter almost immediately after it's destroyed, creating a fragrant goo from its core structure located on the head. The core is, as far as we can tell, indestructible. Fortunately, it's easy enough to keep Sweet Tooth under lock and key. It loves consuming slag, diesel runoff, and other such revolting materials. World Eater factories are to Sweet Tooth as an endless buffet is to a starving man. Subject 025, Pinwheel. It doesn't look good for World Eater when our packs cause more destruction than the kaijus. Of course, we now know that Foresight Labs is deliberately selecting challenging kaijus to release through their portals. Codename Pinwheel appeared in New York City in the spring of 1950. Smaller and lighter than most kaijus, Pinwheel was able to actually avoid detection for weeks. Finally, corroborated reports forced our hand. We knew we had to do something, but we also knew that if a fight broke out in the middle of a crowded city against a kaiju so nimble it could hide in plain sight, that we would stir up controversy. Regardless, we sent in our finest pilots to deal with the threat. It went exactly as we thought it would. Our weaponry laid waste to the city, and the kaiju escaped without a scratch on it, or without so much as scratching a windshield. Subject 026, Thunderbird. Soaring high over the Rocky Mountains, codename Thunderbird was the subject matter of America's first color TV broadcast. The nation was in awe of its majesty, mesmerized by its tranquil nature. At the time, we at World Eater were bracing for the other shoe to drop. Private investigators working undercover at Foresight Labs fed us information, claiming that Thunderbird would be a test of our reflexes, remaining innocuous for a time before striking a highly populated area. Our delayed reaction caused by this feigned grace period would turn even our supporters against us, chastising us for our lack of initiative. So we made the first move, blasting the bird out of the sky only moments after the TV broadcast went live. The nation's reaction was not as we had anticipated it to be. Subject 027, Pink Belly. In the months following the Thunderbird debacle, Foresight Labs set up a series of traps to manipulate our public image. Some kaijus would, in fact, be benign, winning over the hearts of Americans and painting us as the bad guys if we so much as pointed a gun in their direction. Codename Pink Belly was an example of one such kaiju. Our intelligence agents could not provide us with a thorough explanation as to where or how Foresight was able to produce a kaiju that resembled a giant friendly dog. What we did know is that Pink Belly gained a reputation among the local population of Rhode Island as a lovable scamp. Not a large kaiju by any means, the only destruction caused by Pink Belly was the occasional uprooted tree or car-sized dropping. We had our A-shows stationed in its general vicinity just in case anything changed, but to this day, Pink Belly remains to be a near unanimously loved member of the community. Our ability to adapt to these neutral kaijus was praised by our supporters and tolerated by our critics.
Nope. Mr. Pop.
Subject 029, the Grand Architect. At every bump in the road, every obstacle we have faced, World Eater has overcome and grown stronger. We started as a humble robotics manufacturer, a few brilliant minds with big plans to change the world. We went on to finance the most groundbreaking technology the world has ever seen, or rather, has never seen. The doorways opened into other dimensions changed the future of World Eater forever. And through our work with Gate and the Ambassador, we learned the intricate secrets of a powerful race of alien beings and brought that technology to the American public. Now, the Ambassador and its many secrets is in the hands of a company hell-bent on shutting World Eater down for good. Not only do they have access to the alien technology, but also to the kaiju these aliens can create. The Grand Architect was thought to be the key to creating such monsters as Sunblot or Yosemite. This power now lies in the hands of Foresight Labs, and they are using it to slowly destroy us, either literally or financially. We once created kaijus only to destroy them, to sell a product the world had no need for. Now we fight the monsters of our own making, not to thrive, but to survive. Subject 030, Ouroboros. Prospective applicant, you have completed your orientation seminar. You are now properly educated in regards to the history of this company and the problems we're facing today. The fact that you're still here proves that the controversial nature of World Eater and our practices are no obstacle for you. One of the most valuable attributes we look for in a new employee is an emotionless indifference towards polarizing ethical dilemmas. As such, you are now ready to hear about World Eater's most recent endeavor, Project Ouroboros. For decades, our R&D department has focused on creating packs that can take down kaijus. What we've learned over the last few years is that what we really need is a kaiju that can take down Foresight Labs. So, our best engineers have started work on the most massive mech the world has ever seen, or will ever see. Ouroboros will take a crew of 67 people to pilot, years to design, and decades to build, but when it's finished, we will have created the equivalent of a kaiju so powerful, it will make the Grand Architect cower in fear. The shining star of this design will be its Rift Maker chamber, a device that can absorb power from almost any energy source and reroute it to tear holes in the fabric of space-time. This will allow us to replicate the portal technology of Gate, and attack from both outside and within Foresight Labs. This technology is not quite complete, and it will take several more years of corporate espionage to perfectly reverse engineer Gunther Avery's work. Once it's finished, however, there will be no force on this planet or any other who can hope to stop us. Not the US government, not those freakish Genesis cultists, and certainly not Foresight, their Nephilim mech, or their ambassador. Your resume is impressive, applicant. Your skill set is vast. We offer you a choice: engineer, undercover agent, or pilot. This is a golden opportunity that 99.99% of the American public couldn't even dream to receive. Think carefully about how you want to proceed. You have 48 hours to respond to our offer, but we all know what your answer will be. Welcome to World Eater. And with that, KAIJUNE 2022 Welcome to World Eater has come to an end. I'm very happy with all the work I've done this month, and I'm even more happy with the story. I feel like this is the first time I've done one of these narrative challenges that actually had a conclusive story to wrap up the month with. It was so much fun to make, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. I think I'd like to do a Q&A stream at some point, because I'm sure some of you have questions. I'll announce that in a community post and through Discord when I do. Finally, we have one last mega evolution to look at. Day 24, Poison. I'm actually pretty happy with this one, so let's just jump right in and have a look. I went back and forth for a while before I decided on GOHILA for the Poison type mega evolution. I also considered Sutrebile, but I just couldn't ignore the fact that GOHILA is probably the Pokemon design that is most directly inspired by kaijus. It was too perfect not to end the month with it. I thought a lot about how to design this Mega. My first consideration was in pose. A lot of Mega evolutions change the silhouette of the Pokemon by adjusting the pose, and Gohila's pose is so integral to its design that switching it up would have a big impact on the change of forms. Instead of Gohila balancing on its tail, its Mega form would stand on its feet, feeling big enough that it doesn't need to prop itself up, even though it only grows about an inch in size. Then it was time to add more. Obviously, I wanted more kaiju influence. I played up the Godzilla spines on its back, making them sharper and more energetic. I also added some physical features that drew from other desert reptiles like bearded dragons, thorny devils, and armadillo lizards. The tongue was dramatically upscaled, exaggerating the initial concept and visual pun of its tongue resembling Godzilla's atomic breath. To drive home this connection between Pokemon and kaiju, I added electric to Gohila's typing. This, to me, was the best fit to represent the specific and iconic radioactive elemental typing of Godzilla. I also considered fire, but electric seemed like a better fit. I don't know, what do you guys think? The balancing team for the Mazda region game will have to share their input with me. Mega Gohila, the tiny terror Pokemon. Mega evolving does not help Gohila's Napoleon complex. If anything, its slightly increased size makes Gohila even more aggressive. It will attack unprovoked, lashing the area around it with its highly poisonous tongue. It generates energy in the scales on its back, and in the heat of battle these spines glow white. The amount of energy it consumes when it Mega evolves means that after the battle is over, Gohila will exhaust itself, sometimes sleeping for days until it gets its strength back. And that is the end of KAIJUNE 2022. Oh, actually, wait, not yet. There are a ton of amazing fan-made pieces that I want to share from the end of the month. Of course, I can't share every single one, so be sure to check out the Discord and these artists' social medias to see all of the outstanding work that has been made during this KAIJUNE. Congratulations to everyone who made it through the whole month. It's not easy, trust me, I know. To the rest of you, thank you so much for participating in this little community project. It's always a great time, and I love to see how each individual artist goes on to inspire another, and so on and so forth. Anyway, this is already an incredibly long video, so I'm just going to stop it here. Keep an eye on the community posts for updates on the Q&A stream and future uploads, and we'll see you all in the next video.